if you've read the history of Camano Lutheran, you know that at one time there were like 20 active logging camps on Camano, and mostly people came to work. And lots of people came and brought their religion with them and their families.
An interesting fact that we found as we walked the cemetery and read everything on the headstones, there was a lady that had died in 1909, but the cemetery didn't start until 1921. We speculate that either they had already buried Kisa here, and this was one of the reasons it was chosen to be a cemetery, or she may have been buried at home. And once the cemetery was purchased and began growing, they decided to move her over here. Or possibly there is no one there and it's just a headstone.
We simply don't know the answer.
Orville was my mother's cousin. His father and my grandfather were the first ones to settle on the Hampstead Road on Camano Island, hence the name Hampstead. His father died when he was very young. His mother had medical issues and left him alone at 13. Orville milked cows every morning and every night, 365 days a year, from the time he was 13 years old until he was 62 years old. Never missed a milking. He retired when he was 62, and he decided it was time to get married.
And so he did.
I love that.
Okay, Otto was the first president of Camano Lutheran Church.
Oh, was he?
You turn right at the lumberyard, go north on Good Road. That's the first farmhouse on the right-hand side. That was owned by the Wolds. Here's the grave of Paul Christian Lucky. Paul grew up part of his years in Stanwood. His father was the pastor at Our Savior's Lutheran Church, and that's where my sister met him. They went on to Pacific Lutheran University and were married, and he became a Lutheran pastor also. But Paul was a pastor down in La Grande, Oregon. He was a private pilot. Connie and I were going to be married November 27th of 1976.
And we met him in Seattle. And that was the first time I think I met Paul, wasn't it?
It could be.
And we met him at a restaurant, and Paul planned our wedding and told us some of his ideas and how it should look, and it was beautiful. And then I was teaching, and one day I get a call from Alan.
That my father had called me and said that Paul had died in a plane crash. The plane that he was piloting crashed into a wheat field near Pendleton, Oregon.
2.5 weeks before he was to marry us, and he left his sister, or his wife and Alan's sister, with 4 children from 8 years old till 17.
He was 41 years old at the time.
So this is a very special grave.
This is another link
Yes.
that we have to this cemetery.
Yeah.
This is what cemeteries are about. There's stories.
Yeah.
Probably every one of these headstones have a story.
And somehow if we understand who we were and where we came from, maybe it'll help us to be good people today and tomorrow too, and help us be a model for our children